My first video got 11 upvotes, and my second, as of now, only has 8. There are also a lot less views and comments, but the comments that are there are better. I am sure a lot of guys in my audience think I'm talking about them, or they think I was being too harsh. I'm sure some of them don't think it's a bad video, but they think I'm going too far. However, everything in my video had to be said. This tells me a lot of people in my audience neither understand the reality of the situation nor what we are trying to do. They really think that subscribing and liking will force people to watch the same video that they are watching at that moment. They don't understand movements, or that at some point they're going to have to do things in real life. On the internet, you can only share information to people that are also on the internet. Never mind direct confrontation with our enemies. We're never going to reach a wider audience unless we talk directly to normal people on the street. There's never going to come a time where we just magically take over the internet and everyone in the real world starts talking about immense issues. The internet is neither reality nor an augmented magical reality 2.0. In the real world of mass energy and subatomic particles, there are rules, patterns, and relationships. Society only functions because people communicate and perform their functions. It's not possible for the majority of society to LARP and fake their way through reality. The internet is just a network that can store information like the same types of images and sounds found in reality, and then display them on a screen. The internet is just a medium for exchanging information, but it can also be a medium for distorting information. Most importantly, it is usually just a projection of people's desires. Most of what exists on the internet is just fantasy and speculation. Just because there's a large fandom for something on the internet doesn't mean that that fandom is based on anything real or measurable. For this unfortunate reason, the internet is very good at blurring the lines between entertainment and reality. Even the conversations online are stereotyped, cliché, comical, and go nowhere. It's barely even a good approximation of normal people you find in the real world. In the real world, two people only have a conversation because both of them put some type of effort and have some sort of reason for being at the location where they are at. On the internet, you can't just teleport. In the real world, you can't just teleport from location to location at will. In the server that I help run, I make it very clear that our goal is to get off the internet. We're not looking for passive observers. We need guys that are going to contribute to the movement and not just spy on us from a distance. We're not there to provide them with passive entertainment. At the very least, we test them to see if they are actually learning. We encourage disagreement as long as people don't derail into areas that have nothing to do with men's rights. We don't want mindless followers. We want guys that are actually willing to do something. I've noticed the same mentality in a lot of Discord servers where where admins just they want to create a safe space where they can just have conversations, which really amounts to a bunch of anonymous randos making microscopic small talk and complaining about the same exact things over and over again, but never making any progress or even beginning to think about solutions. In the process, they end up enabling a lot of useless and toxic people. I can't blame a lot of these guys for being lost souls that are seeking some sort of answers and who have emotional baggage. I can't blame them for needing or seeking some kind of therapy. Therapy can be useful, but only if people are willing to be honest and put in some kind of effort. These guys don't want therapy. They want validation. They don't want to reflect. They want to be told they are productive, useful, intelligent, and wise. They want unconditional positive regard no matter what they do. They don't want to admit that they've made mistakes in the past, or that there's stuff that they don't know. In fact, they'll do the opposite and try to drag other men down and make them make the same mistakes that they did. They're not even good followers. I could understand why they would be so secretive online. I could understand if they don't take Discord seriously and they just use it to relax. Um, However, uh, they are lazy, dishonest, and hostile. They wear a mask and are in the rare instances where they actually interact, they're just disruptive. They don't genuinely care about other men, and they can't even respect the boundaries of other men in the same so-called group. They want other men to pander to their sensibilities without engaging in any sort of honest and meaningful exchange of ideas. They're so used to being spoon-fed and pandered to in MRA spaces that they're not used to being told the hard truth or being told what they have to do to work. Being told that they have to do work, sacrifice something, and evolve as a person to even see some type of simple, basic change in their life right now. These guys don't understand that the only way anyone can take someone else seriously or trust them is if they do something together. You have to be able to see how someone else reacts in real life situations to understand their character. Otherwise, their words and conversations have no proof behind them. It's incredibly easy to posture and virtue signal online. Doing things online can count as action as long as you are putting some kind of name and identity behind it, or you're creating something brand new from scratch. Creating videos or contributing to a conversation counts as doing something because you're putting ideas out there to which others can respond. Um, Upvoting videos isn't doing something. Typing comments that have nothing to do with the video isn't doing something. Excuse me. Observing conversations in a Discord server isn't doing something. As I've said before, it's not even following. It's just observing from a distance. Would a feminist coming to my channel to troll be part of the men's movement just because she's commenting on a men's rights video? Of course not. So how can leaving completely irrelevant gibberish count? Nothing is risked, nothing is shared. Paradoxically, it's much easier to find trustworthy people in real life because you can actually get to know them. Online spaces are almost always shit because everyone there is fake. Ultimately, meeting people in real life is the only way to determine if someone is genuine and serious about what they say. In fact, most other MRA servers, in most other MRA servers, the attitude is far worse because they bend over backwards to enable these same dysfunctional men for the sole reason that it appears that these kinds of dysfunctional men are the majority. These so-called leaders are unwilling to be selective and patient and lead from the front. Most importantly, they don't seem to understand that leading by definition requires criticism and direction of the people you are leading. It's quite bizarre because so many owners of these MRA servers are actually very invisible and don't seem to even be interested in keeping order in their own servers. When these leaders are active, they are very dysfunctional. These self-appointed leaders are not that different from the guys that follow them. From the guys that follow them. The only real difference is that they are willing to put a little bit more effort into their charade. They want other guys to admire them, but they don't want the responsibility of getting these guys to work together. They would rather endlessly speculate on the origins of misandry and blame easy targets rather than work on strategy and solutions, which requires honesty, compromise, and hard work. They can't even create a server that facilitates serious and genuine conversations. Often they get frustrated, give up, and hand the server over to someone else. In fact, I really think that this inability to cooperate and come up with some cohesive long-term strategy is the fundamental reason for the failure of the MRM. My genuine impression over decades is that these guys think that Once they reach some nebulous critical mass online, things will take a life of their own and just happen. The problem is that even once things get going, there needs to be some sort of coordination, leadership, and principles for anything to get done. An angry and violent mob alone does not make for a revolution. Any movement needs to be prepared to actually wield some level of political power, even if it's only at a very local level or temporary. I'm starting to realize that the problem boils down to personalities and not ideology. For some reason, we have always attracted a lot of weak characters and shitty personalities. We have been dealing with these sorts of migtards and losers since pretty much the beginning of the pro-male collective. They themselves act like petty entitled suburban housewives who have never worked a day in their lives and who overreact to silly and irrelevant stuff if it offends their hidden sensibilities. But they can never come out and be upfront about what they believe and want. They are even unwilling to admit how much they do or do not know, and a lot of the time they don't even seem to be humble enough to learn. In particular, the more relationship obsessed they are, the less they care about solutions to men's problems. Both MRAs and MGTOW accused each other of being ineffective, while neither have managed to make any dent in the mainstream consciousness for decades. It's like guys have a hard time admitting that they might not always be right. Newcomers in particular will also complain about all these rules that we have, even after we explain to them our history and why we need them. It's like they don't like the fact that we are trying to accomplish something that requires teamwork and effort, because then they feel like they might be obligated to actually do something and not just occasionally and passively read text inside a server. The great irony is that none of these rules have limited our conversations. On the contrary, all the rules have done is to get rid of all the extraneous noise of internet. The internet, of internet attention seekers, and that interferes with productive conversations. Our rules have also managed to scare off all the insincere, low-effort trolls. The more rules we have added, the less we've had to kick people out. We need rules because we need to get stuff done. These same guys that complain about us being an echo chamber don't want to express their views in real life. They want to be some faceless, anonymous avatar on the internet who's provided with a space to cope, and that caters. They want to be provided with a place that helps them to cope and that caters to their unique dysfunction. They're unwilling to sacrifice or commit to anything, and they're unwilling to reveal what they actually believe to people, even to people on the internet who they say they agree with. They're not even really interested in understanding or personal growth, let alone activism. Our rules have helped us to weed out disruptive and unproductive members. The very same guys that complain about echo chambers never seem to be productive members themselves. I don't have a problem with people complaining, but if you complain, never go deeper, never come up with solutions, and never take any action and disrupt the place, then you're part of the problem. You are wasting everyone's time, including your own, like a complete dysfunctional scumbag loser. I would almost say that the only thing our rules have failed to do is to get the passive guys to step up. In fact, even our enemies can't keep up with the development of our ideology. Another great irony is virtually nobody is ever willing to debate us in our introduction section. Time and time again, we've proven that we are willing to explain ourselves to anyone, But the truth is that the vast majority of our detractors can't even explain their own worldview, contrary to whatever pretensions they have about facts and logic. It is for this reason that we've had to reiterate to our followers time and time again that this is not a struggle of facts and logic. Our enemies are malicious, dishonest, and arrogant.